Hey, we got another big budget game this week, bringing you Mad Max, the game inspired by the success of what is probably the best movie of the year. Now, I never got into Mad Max. I'm probably still not really into it. Never saw any of the movies until I saw Fury Road, and while they're good, I wasn't about to throw on some BDSM gear and drive around like an idiot. Now, I feel like this game has to take place at an Outback Steakhouse, because for being Australian, Max is the only person who doesn't sound like someone I'd run into jogging outside. WB published this game. You think they could afford to get some proper accents and dialects? No, the Rockstar buggy was more important. Anyway, the premise is take a Mad Max movie and make it into a game. That sounds well in theory, but the Mad Max movies, especially the really good Fury Road, may start with the basic Max gets into someone else's problem because something happens to his car, but they keep the audience into it with knowing how to pace everything, ensuring we never get overwhelmed with action or slow down for too long. In this game, unfortunately, you're mostly just screwing around in the wasteland, accomplishing next to nothing, and thus not keeping me interested. So I've been seeing a lot of reviews talking about how great the story is. We had to have been playing different games. Mad Max's car got stolen and gutted, so we need a new one. That's our sole motivation behind the game. And you end up getting a new car not 30 minutes in. So as far as I'm concerned, GG, we're done. But no, Max wants the coolest engine, so we have to go to Gastown because Gastown was mentioned in the movie. Speaking of the movie, does this take place before or after Fury Road? Because if it takes place before, that'd make a little bit more sense because the first car gets stolen then would be the magnum opus. Of course, that would mean all the crap we accomplished overthrowing Immortan Joe's warlords has virtually no impact, because Immortan Joe would still be around. And if it takes place after, I'm left to assume Furiosa fucked up somewhere. Speaking of plot, why is everyone still telling me to watch out for Scrotus? Didn't he die in that opening cutscene I totally didn't get to play? Max put a chainsaw through his head. Which looked like a lot of fun, by the way. Make that the tutorial if nothing else. Make the chase scene the introduction to the car controls. A fun, action-packed being thrown right into it would be much more enjoyable way to learn how to play the game than, hey, Max, drive here because I have no gas and we need to pick up some gas. And it would have been a much more fun way to learn the combat controls as well, such as picking up a weapon, not unlike a chainsaw on a stick, and driving it through some asshole's head. There's something else really bothering me in Mad Max as well, and that is the character Hope. No, not that one. Different game. I'm talking about this chick. Seriously, she's like Lois Lane in Man of Steel, just sort of around where the plot wants her to be with no real point. First, I meet her when she's locked up in Gutgash's beached battleship. When I meet her, all that happens is some dialogue trying to make me feel sorry for her. I drop some sort of fan knife thing on the ground and walk out. So I'm thinking she's going to escape and help me out later. Well, next time I see her is when a completely unrelated character has her slave led to his car and is attacking some old lady. I was left wondering, what's she doing here? Then the next time I saw her after that, she's back in the kitchen in Gastown giving me quests. What happened to the pedophile-looking guy she was with? You see what I mean? She just sort of shows up everywhere. Wow, so far all I've done is nitpick at the game without even talking about the actual gameplay yet. Well, the gameplay can be summed up thusly. Arkham Knight mixed with Fallout. You level up your character and fight in basically a watered-down version of the Arkham games. Now that isn't a bad thing. It's a lot more accessible for a newer player, and it's still just tough enough to keep a veteran gamer on their toes. You can pick up melee weapons from the ground which break after some uses, and for some reason Max can't figure out to pull a knife from a dead body, so the prison shanks you get are all one-time use only. You can play the environment a bit more to your advantage than the Arkham games, but only in an oddly more simplistic way. For instance, you can push enemies onto a wall and pummel them, preventing any sort of retaliation and keeping them in hit stun. If you're near a ledge, you can push enemies off for the quick kill. And most hilariously, you can light a gas can on fire and watch as they all walk into it like moths to flames, as the AI can't piece together that firing gasoline might not be good for their health. The car is the main gimmick this game has, separating it from Fallout or Borderlands. And after playing Arkham Knight's Batmobile, this is a welcome improvement. When cruising the wasteland and running across a monument to Scrotus, it's very natural to click a shoulder button, fire your harpoon, and rip it down, all without losing any momentum. It's fast, fluid, and fun. Everything the Batmobile wasn't. Even car combat is a significant improvement, as dealing with one or two other angry BDSM motorists comes just as natural and doesn't slow your pace down. This is everything the Arkham Knight game was lacking in its Batmobile. Unfortunately, I still have to complain a bit. While taking down monuments or handling one or two other enemy drivers is fine, when you're pitted up against multiple attackers, it becomes a mess. I found the best thing to do against multiple cars is to get out of my car and wait for them to do so as well. If the most optimal solution to car combat is to just not do it, I think there may be a problem here. When I first started playing this game, I was all set to recommend it. But by the time I finished writing this review, I found myself thinking I'd refund this if I was able to. I don't hate this game, not by a long shot. It's just forgettable and nothing's keeping me engaged in playing it. I was very easily able to put the game down and walk away. So if you're someone on the fence about picking up this title, I'd say get it if you can get it for a significant discount. Otherwise, hold out for November and wait for Fallout 4 to release.